Very tough. What would I put Drew Brees? Because I'm talking about the difference between the greatest and the best.
I can go first if you want, unless you want to.
Ooh, I'll go first. I'll give some shout outs and then I'll give one honorable mention. I want to pay respect to the guys that did it early on, like guys that I think if you give them enough time, that their game could potentially translate. Uh, John Unitas, who was the best at his time, you give him enough time, he could probably be a really good quarterback today. Maybe not top five, but maybe if you lowball it, maybe like in Jared Goff range. I think you would. I think you would be very generous to say you would probably be a Joe Burrow, but that's like best case scenario. And then Bart Starr, I think he would be no worse than Brock Purdy and potentially no better than Trevor Lawrence. But I would probably go somewhere in the middle with both. And then Russell Wilson, although he had some like controversial things to say, what he should have said as far as he kind of helped put black quarterbacks on the map. He should have probably said that he helped get it more recognition because Doug Williams, he did it first. Like he won the Super Bowl first, but Russell Wilson showed people that you can win with those type of quarterbacks, and then you saw later on a lot of people get more African American quarterbacks. Like the Panthers started to trust Cam Newton more, even though he was already drafted. Then a guy named Patrick Mahomes came along. Lamar is here now. Guys like C.J. Stroud, Jalen Hurts, Jordan Love are here now. Potentially a Caleb Williams, and then a couple years before, Deshaun Watson, before his incident, was an elite quarterback. So I wanted to give those three their own shout out for what they did for the game. And there's 11 guys that really I feel like deserve to be on the list. And I kind of, it's very hard. This is where I think the greatest and the best differentiate. Because if we're just saying the best, Drew Brees is probably no lower than 5 or 6. But what I do, I if the talent is close enough or if the success is close enough, that's why I kind of base it off. Like when my NBA rankings, I kind of had to differentiate from the 9 to 12 slot because it was so close. So the guys that had a championship and at least one Finals MVP and at least an MVP got on my top 10. But it's very understandable. And even if I put Drew Brees on the list, I don't know specifically where I will rank him, but probably anywhere from that 5 to 10 slot, you could slot him in there. So I want that as a disclaimer. 10, I have John Elway. I think his last year really helped. Without his last year, going off in the sunset, winning the Super Bowl MVP, he might have not even been on his list. So he got decent longevity. You could argue Drew Brees is very close. I almost switched that. I almost switched Elway and Drew Brees completely, but I just really don't know where this perfect slot to spot Drew Brees. At number 9, give me Kurt Warner. I respect. I kind of respect. I think it's because we're seeing with Patrick Mahomes. I kind of respect peak over longevity. The man from 99 to 2001 won MVP, 2 MVPs and the Super Bowl MVP, and I believe at least one Offensive Player of the Year, maybe even 2. Terry Bradshaw, I got it. There's not a lot of. How many players do you know have led their team to multiple Super Bowls? Granted, I think the last 2 Super Bowl runs were stronger than the first 2, but he was still dominant. He was towards the end of his career, the MVP of his era. Talent wise, I think he's good. I think that's probably the only guy you could probably argue talent wise in comparison to the other guys aren't there. But I also kind of just want to pay my respects to the guys that did it before because I do believe he did have talent. It's a reason why he got drafted first overall. Is a reason why he was able to execute in big games. Granted, he also had an elite defense, but you can say the same thing for guys like Tom Brady. His first 3 runs, and at that time, he was still an all-time great quarterback. Maybe not top five, maybe not top 10, but he was still one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. Even before he started to like really dominate the league once like in '07 going forward all the way until he retired. Number 7, Steve Young. What that man did in a short period amount of time is absolutely insane. I think he had 8 years starting. And he won two MVPs, a Super Bowl MVP. If he played, but the 49ers probably should have won at least 2 Super Bowls with the team that they had. So he played better in the playoffs. He probably could have been up here. But I really would like this. I think it would really be interesting to see a full career of Steve Young, and he's also considered one of the best dual threat quarterbacks of all time. 6, give me Brett Favre. What he did from '95 to '97, you don't really see a lot. Uh, Aaron Rodgers, and I feel like these last 5 guys speaks for themselves. At 5, give me Aaron Rodgers. At 4, give me Peyton Manning. At 3, give me Patrick Mahomes. Number 2 goes to Joe Montana, and you already know who's number 1, Tom Brady.
I agree with like the top 5, 6, 7. I just don't see how you can have Kurt Warner on there. I feel like he gets overlooked a lot because he had such an amazing story, but he wasn't that good for that long. Look at most of these all-time great quarterbacks; they're good 15 plus years. He was only good for about 10 years, and I think he had a lot of inconsistencies throughout that. Some seasons where he barely played because he wasn't that good, and we also have to look when he did have all that success. He had amazing teams around him, the greatest show on turf, greatest offense ever. Then for the 2009 Super Bowl, his MVP season, he had Larry Fitzgerald, Anquan Bolden, Edgerrin James, other great players. I think he's borderline Hall of Fame. I think he's a Hall of Famer, but I feel like he gets overlooked a lot just because of his story. I do think he's one of the greatest QBs ever, but I don't think he's one of the best ever.
Yeah, this is where our opinions differentiate. I just value peak what you did when you were at your absolute apex over the longevity of the sport. Because there's a lot of guys who played forever. Dan Marino played forever, and he didn't accomplish half of the things that Kurt Warner accomplished. So I just value that more. Like, because football, nothing's guaranteed. So what can you give me in these 5 years? And that's what Kurt Warner did, and that's what Kurt Warner executed on.
I can respect that. Alright, so I'm in my top 10 QBs now. Number 10, John Elway. You got the same one there. He covered it mostly. Great 15, 16, 17, 18 year stretch. Won 2 Super Bowls. Did go off in the sunset. A lot of people have him in their top 5, some even in their top 3. I feel like he gets overlooked a lot because of those last couple years. And he wasn't this insane regular season quarterback. He was good, but he also did great in the playoffs, which I don't value as much as other people. I think regular season is more important than people think. Number 9, Pat Mahomes. That one's self-explanatory. Probably the best start to a QB career ever. Still going strong.
Mahomes only at 9? You must really love longevity.
Yeah, I guess. Number 8, I got Brett Favre. He such an interesting quarterback. Had the most yards, touchdowns ever for a long period of time. But he threw so many interceptions, and he was the definition of the gunslinger quarterback. He was the gunslinger, and so he got respect and put him up there. But he's not up there with like the all time like top 5, just because of those interceptions and how many mistakes he made. Number 7 is Steve Young, one of the best dual threat quarterbacks ever, like Vontae said, but he didn't really play a whole long time. But when he did, he was very good. Number 6 is Aaron Rodgers, one of the most efficient QBs ever, probably one of the most talented ever. Been good for a long time, several MVPs. I think that one's self-explanatory. Number 5, Joe Montana.
Joe Montana at 5?
I kind of want to put him even lower, just because
That's absurd.
Look at his stats. He had 40,000 career yards. Warren Moon had more.
Do you not know how that man got down the Alls?
He had the greatest receiver ever.
He won 2 Super Bowls.
I don't care if he won Super Bowls.
He won 2 before Jerry Rice even came.
He also had some of the best teams ever, and I just don't value Super Bowls as much as you do, I guess. He just
won 2. I think he solidified.
Stats.
If he doesn't get hurt in 1990, he has 5 Super Bowls. And elite, maybe 4 Super Bowl MVPs, but at least you add that on top of there. Mahomes not even close to him at that point. He would have to at least get one this year and then another one next year.
Like I said, I think people overrate him because of his playoff success. He wasn't this amazing regular season quarterback. He did great in the playoffs, but I don't think regular season is more important to me, because that's how everybody gets the same opportunity in the regular season. Not everybody can get to the playoffs and show what they can do there. Yes, your playoff success does, and your ability to play in the playoffs does show a lot, but the regular season is 16 games. If you're not good in the regular season, you can't get to the playoffs.
But that's the most important thing, the playoffs. Why do you? Some people still put Dan Marino in their top 5 or in their top 10, but that's a reason why he's not in that conversation, because he didn't get it done. If Lamar Jackson never gets it done, he's gonna be put out of that conversation. And I'm the biggest Lamar fan ever, but if he never wins, I can't put him with Steve Young. I can't put him with Brett Favre. I can't put him with Aaron Rodgers.
I think the difference is I just value different things. Like, I value longevity. I don't value playoff success as much as you do, and I don't really value Super Bowls that much, because it's a team sport. It's about how your team performs with you. Yes, quarterback is the most impactful position in the game, but it's only a part of it. Like, that's what I'm gonna say there.
Like, it's what we're seeing now. Like a lot of these dudes are there. Like, a lot of these teams are winning because of how great their quarterback is. Granted, it's not all about the quarterback, because there's years where Ray Lewis is the best player. Well, Lawrence Taylor was the best player, or you just have a stacked team, but it is the most important.
Yeah, I don't think this is something we're going to agree on. I just value different things. But anyways, at 4, Dan Marino, self-explanatory. One of the best regular season QBs ever. That's why a lot of people put him lower, because he didn't do well in the playoffs. But
I think y'all glazed Dan Marino. If we're going off a best list, yes, he might be top 5 or top 10.
He had the best stats.
But greatest, I think, is the difference between the best and the greatest.
He led every stat category until Brett Favre for 20 years. But number 3, Drew Brees. That one's hard to say. I think he's one of the best ever, but for going off greatness, he probably should be lower, because he didn't have all those accolades. But until Tom Brady came around the last couple of years of his career, he led every passing category, which I value a lot, because that just shows how dominant you were in so many places. Number 2, Peyton Manning. I don't think many people are going to disagree with that one. And then number 1, Ben Roethlisberger. Tom Brady.
I really do like that top 3, because you can argue Drew Brees should at least been co-MVP in 2009. I think people glaze it when they say he probably should have won 2 or 3, but definitely 2009 should probably at least been co-MVP. I like that.
I agree.
Even though I personally put him lower, I just really didn't know where to rank him.
The other thing with Drew Brees is he had very little to work with to get to the Super Bowl. He never had great defenses, and he didn't really have much to throw to. Marquez Colston, most of his career, was his best target. He didn't make a Pro Bowl once in his career.